Okay, here we go. So, July is just about gone. It's Sunday, the 28th of July. And it's been a hectic, busy, good weekend. Lots of activity. I had 2 gigs this weekend. I shared with you my Friday night gig, and I want to talk about that a little bit and shine a light on my bandmate and friend Tom Ware. He got the most attention when it gets in the comments, and for good reason. Tom is a good drummer, and he's a good friend of mine. Just right quick, some shameless promotion. That band Scudder that I'm in has been around for 40 years, and we have this CD called Tough as Nails. Okay? Scudder's history, I was not an original member back when they started in the 70s, but they have a long history of being perceived as kind of a biker band. Some folks even see them as almost rednecks. There's reasons for that regarding their history, but it's a good band, as you could hear. And that song in the video, World War III, is the last track on this album. And you can buy it on Bandcamp. I'll leave the link, please. Pick up a copy. Grab this. Get this. It's good. Tom and I are good friends, and I met Tom as a teen back in the 80s, like many musicians that I've worked with who are younger than me, because I like that energy. I like working with young people. And Tom is a great guy. We're polar opposites when it comes to personality, though, which in a way makes for us being a good rhythm section together. But philosophically, we're completely different, okay? Which can be a little frustrating at times, okay? But Tom and I have deep history. This is the very first record that either of us made. Norman and the Rockwells, the Mental Health EP. That's me in the middle, and that's Tom right there. And we put this out in 1981. This is the very first piece of vinyl that I ever put out. The band, Norman and the Rockwells, you can hear us on Bandcamp. We were influenced very much by Frank Zappa and Todd Rundgren and the Tubes, okay? So that's the reference point here. But that's that's where I got started with Tom. Tom and I have a lot of history together. And I do want to just shine a light on him, since people seem interested. He has records out. Back in the 80s, Tom put out this solo album. And what year was this? 1983. 1983. Tom Ware. It's very electronic and whizzy. This is really good. It's so good that I suggested to Tom, Tom, I bet you could get this put out in Europe. And so I found a contact for him at Sky Records, and sure enough, Sky Records released this album as well. That's who's on drums behind me in Scudder. This guy right here, Tom Ware. I'm going to show you the label because I was proud and jealous at the same time. I helped him to get this deal, but of course jealous that it wasn't me and that what I do wasn't deemed worthy. But I'm glad I helped to make this happen. Now, there's a recent reissue of this again by a small label. I don't know the label, but there's a 3rd edition of this out now. Besides those, Tom has these CDs. Out of Bounds. Now I play bass on this one. And are you familiar with the guitarist Michael Lee Firkins? He and I are on the same track together. Mike is a friend of mine. Great guitar player. You guys that are guitar nerds, I'm sure you know the name Michael Lee Firkins, okay? So, Out of Bounds. He also put this one out, Animals. Tom Ware Animals with a lenticular cover. Can you see that? The cover is lenticular. And very creative stuff. As Tom has gone on with his releases, they've become less eclectic and more kind of, no, that's not true. His music is very eclectic. It falls somewhere between fusion, jazz, and electronic. This is the last one he put out. Syncopate This. Tom also, I'm going to go a little further on him, then I'll move on. Tom is a great recording engineer, and he owns the studio that was started by Chip Davis of Mannheim Steamroller. He owns Warehouse Productions. Tom has done some good work. He's worked with Lady Gaga, and he's been nominated for Grammys. I don't think he's won. I think he was nominated for a Grammy for Lady Gaga recorded at his studio. So that's my dude. I love working with Tom. I love playing music with him. I appreciate your comments, folks. Yes, I am the real deal. Yes, I do feel quite qualified to share my opinion about music because I love it, but I can also play it. And I can play what it is I want to hear, which is, I want music to mean something, like it to count. So yesterday, I had another gig under the Radar Festival. That went fantastic. But as I was heading out of the house, the mailman had a package for me. Now I haven't. This is an acknowledgement, not a review. Anthony Ferraro has once again sent me a package of music. Anthony, thank you so much, brother. I do see where some of these records are split seams, and perhaps I'm getting where maybe you decided that's not good. You want a pristine copy, and so I get this one. That's fine with me. Thank you for sharing. So he sent me this Nectar Live, and this is one of theirs I don't have, Live at the Roundhouse, but it's a reissue on Purple Pyramid Records. Number 490 out of 500. Haven't even played this yet. I got Nectar over here. I'm not going to dig it up. I've got a Nectar collection. But he let me know he was going to send me this, which I really appreciate. The cover's badly split out. That is sad to me that, when record companies mail records out, by now they don't realize that if you don't take the album out of the cover, it's going to split the seams. This one is split to hell, but it's Steve Hackett Live, a 1990 concert, finally released on vinyl, and for good reason. This is really well recorded, a wonderful performance on this neat brown vinyl. Very happy to add this to my Steve Hackett collection. I have about half of his albums. He's put out so many that after a point I couldn't afford to keep buying them. But I love Steve Hackett's guitar playing. Anthony, you're so kind to share this with me. He sent me a CD as well. Was it one or two? Okay. He sent me Tangerine Dream, Stratosphere. This is the reissue. Remixed. It's got all these bonus tracks. I have it on vinyl, but I listened to the Coventry Cathedral soundtrack, which on here is about a 34-minute live piece. It's incredibly good. This is back when Tangerine Dream were really hitting on all fours, and the Coventry Garden on here really shows to me why they are so highly regarded by so many people to this day. Real cool stuff, and not just noodly wibbly synthesizer shit. It's using those synthesizers to create wonderful pictures of sound. Thank you. I'm going to mention this, but this is not a review. I'm just acknowledging to Jerry King, because I'm going to give him a review, that I got his latest package and his latest album, Cloud Over Jupiter. He also made sure to send me his other Cloud Over Jupiter, because he sent it to me before, but I still can't find it. And I have this already. It's with John Shirley, so I'm going to pass this on to someone. Spaceship Landing in a Cemetery. Also a download for this. Quite the package, and even more. There's a poster. Jerry, I'm going to take my time and really listen to this and and review it well, because I do want to help spread the word about this. I'll tell you this much. I popped on the first track before I went to my show. I like the way it starts, the sound of it, the sound of the music. And yeah, John has an interesting voice. As I say all the time, it's the music to me. I'm really not interested in words, but apparently this is a very important part of what you're doing. Cloud Over Jupiter is Jerry King, John Shirley, and others. Rick Parnell, who was in Atomic Rooster, is a part of this project, okay? How about that? How's that? Thank you so much for sharing this with me, Jerry. And I am going to be listening, and I'll give a good review, a good, honest review. It's good. I can already tell it's good. I want to try to get into your headspace. Brett Harold Hart, whom you may know I have worked with and released music with, is involved here as well. This is good stuff. Before I go, or just let me just go until I'm ready to go. Let me see how long it's gone. Okay, only 11 minutes. Okay. Some music that I played recently because I like to show. Oh, this is what else he sent me. I knew I wasn't done. This is so cool. Anthony sent me Super Sister Project 2019. The Dutch band, Robert Jan Stips. And I had already listened to this online because I love Super Sister. I have some of their albums. I think I can get to, yeah, they're right here. What I have. Love this band. They're, in a way, for many listeners of progressive music, we include them in the Canterbury school. There's a definite soft machine influence in their music. And I have some of their albums. I don't have first editions, you know, like, for example, the first edition of this Present from Nancy is a gatefold. I don't have that. Great album. Same with this one. The original is a gatefold, but I don't have it. To the Highest Bidder. What a cool album. What a cool sound. I love this band. Same with this one. The original has a die-cut cover. Putting in Gisterin. Super Sister. Excellent. Sweet OK. Last one they made. Sweet OK Super Sister. This is the last one to come out under their name. And here's one of those. I hate the way these stick together. Super Starshine Volume 3. Kind of a compilation. Not a kind of, but a compilation. Good band. Good band. When I grab these, I'm not going to do a poll today. I'm just going to talk and be done. But when I pulled these, what else was next to them? John Sermon, baritone saxophonist. I believe he's British. Westeringham jazz musician. He's done a lot of good stuff. This is an interesting album. And this is a kind of an interesting album out of Ireland. Don't hear much about it. Progressive rock, though. Supply, demand, and curve. This is really good. And it has a nice mixture of Irish traditional music and great playing and what you call progressive rock. You know, Gentle Giant-y, okay? Supply, demand, and curve. Those popped out. Some other stuff sitting out here. Over the years, to amuse myself at times, I've just because there's records that I'd love to own that I know I never will because they're so hard to find. I'll just break down and download them and then make CD copies. Here's one, Samurai, and it's a good progressive jazzy album, jazzy progressive. And this one goes for $1,000 plus when you can find a copy of it. I've never seen a real copy of it. So, hell, I want it, so I burned a copy. Similarly, my friend Frank came by. He's a big fan of the band Hot Chip. So he buys their stuff, you know, he gets the exclusives, you know. Gave me the download card. I really liked the new one, so I went ahead and made up my own copy of it. A Bath Full of Ecstasy. I really like Hot Chip. They highly influenced by Prince, among others. But the Prince influence on their music is big. And these are some, I mean this very, very affectionately. These are some white boys that know how to make a good booty beat. Hot Chip has kind of beat that makes you want to move. I've seen them live. And I like watching them play because they love this music. This new album is really good. I have several of their albums. Here's a bootleg that I made years ago. Porcupine Tree, live in Irving Plaza, 2005. And the picture on the back here I took. I know I pissed Steve Wilson off. It was up in Minneapolis. I used the flash, you know, and they hate that. But I wanted a picture, and I was right up front, and so I took it. He gave me a look. I deserved it. I understand, but I took that picture, okay? Couple more things on CD. I love this album by Tony Banks from Genesis. Still, he is, again, part of the magic of Genesis for me. Someone asked me my opinion. You know, of course, there was the whole deal where people say, well, they sold out. No, they started out as songwriters. And when they started out as songwriters, they started out hoping that they could get their songs done by the Bee Gees, if that tells you anything, okay? But Tony Banks has always been one of the principal composers and shapers of the Genesis sound. He's never had much success solo-wise. He has used a variety of singers. Fish is on here from Marillion. Really like this album. Nick Kemp is on here. Really like it. Another band that came out of Manchester and the baggy scene. That's how they were marketed, was In Spiral Carpets, Life. Now, I still perceive this band as more than pop. Pop music with substance. This is really, really good. In Spiral Carpets, Life. I think one of the members passed away. I was just playing that. One more. Fred Simon and Liz Safani. This is another Desert Island disc for me. It never came out on CD. If you find it, you'll probably find it for $1. It's, you know, it has no value. This is such a beautiful album. I can play it on repeat. It's so beautiful that it can change my mood. I can feel better just playing. In particular, side 2 of this, Time and the River. Fred Simon and Liz Safani. Fred Simon is a pianist, composer who has a bit of a background. Liz is her main background was as a studio musician. She's played on some soul and funk records. This is beautiful. One of my favorite records. I love beauty. I love beauty. I do. So, my busy weekend is done, so I'm going to try to get some listening in today. Check out the new Cloud Over Jupiter. And also, I've heard from the guys from Trinidad. Let me pull it up again and show it again. From Trinidad, we love from Joint Pop. They saw that I showed this and they got in touch with me, you know, and I am going to be listening to this good. And I'm going to tell you this much. Regardless of how much I like this, I'm going to be really giving this a solid, encouraging review. And here is one reason why. These guys are from Trinidad, Tobago. And how often does that country get any attention? You know, how often do we hear about anything going on over there? These guys deserve to be heard. I'll see if I can help that happen. On my gigs, and I wrote this on Facebook, but I have decided, I've been doing it for a little while now, but I have decided to consciously, on all of my gigs, all of my public appearances, I'm going to speak out and encourage all of us to wake up to the mad environment that we're living in. This really unsafe, dangerous, politically charged, divisive atmosphere that we're living in now. I really want to encourage people with good hearts and brains that still work is to see through the deception. We are being set against each other by forces who are benefiting from it. Our needs are the same. We need sleep, we need food, we need shelter, we need love. And the political shit going on has nothing to do with any of that. If anything, our leaders are destroying our ability to do just that. Supply ourselves with our own needs. I mean, to think that companies are so rash that they would steal water from a poor country where people can barely eat, they steal their water to sell it to people who don't need it. This is just one of the egregious things that happens because of profit, because of the focus on materialism and profit. I will not stop talking about this. And I know it's not going to get any better while I'm alive. I know that. But I'm not going to stop talking because it's not okay. And I do think that if more people were trying to stop deflecting it and ignore it and be in denial about how shitty things are, we could possibly start to build a grassroots effort of solidarity amongst all humans and start to address this inequity between the races. That is unconscionable. It goes on and it's not good. And as a person of color, no matter what anyone says, as long as we have this white privilege and this inequity of the races happening socially, economically, and opportunity-wise, it's not a playing field. I'm going to speak out on it because it's wrong. It's not fair, and it's not me just bitching, just going on and on about racism. It's here. It's not better. It's actually gotten worse since I was a kid. So I will speak out. It's not cool. White privilege is a big problem. White people aren't the enemy. This inequity in the landscape of how the world works is the problem. Okay? So some of you folks that want to get defensive thinking I'm talking about you, get a clue. Okay? It's a bigger picture. Okay? The world doesn't value me like it values your white ass. Okay? That ain't cool. Okay? That ain't cool. And it's the way it is. It's not, and I'm bringing it up because I'm always directly affected by it. Fucking sucks. It sucks big time. God, I cannot imagine what it would be like being a woman, much less being a woman of color. And then if I was gay or trans, my God, you know what I mean? So much division and so much unacceptance of humanity. I will always speak out, people. Always. I will always speak out.